Hey, it's Rachel Abbott, and you're listening to the Standard's Tech and Science Daily podcast. Coming up, the game changer pill to help people stop smoking. But first, a new law has been proposed to legalise assisted dying in England and Wales. The bill has been proposed by backbench MPs instead of the government and is called a private members' bill. Despite private members' bills rarely becoming law, the idea that terminally ill people should be allowed to end their own lives has gained momentum in the UK in recent years. The bill is calling for terminally ill people who are expected to die within 6 months to be given the right to choose to end their life.
The bill is really strict in terms of the safeguards that have been put in place. 2 doctors would have to be involved in the process, and it would have to be signed off by a High Court judge. That's the only bill in the world that has those 3 layers of scrutiny. There are also very strict eligibility criteria in terms of this is just for terminally ill people, as the title has always said from the start.
That's Kim Leadbeater, MP for Spen Valley, and the Labour MP who proposed the legislation. If the bill is passed, the UK would join the likes of Switzerland, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and the US state of Oregon in enabling people with terminal illnesses to end their own lives if they wish. To read the London Standard's full report, head to standard.co.uk or hit the link in our show notes. Next, speaking to PA from COP29 in Baku, Sir Keir Starmer has said he will not be telling people how to live their lives as part of plans to reach the UK's new emissions reduction target. The Prime Minister will set the UK's goal later today, but it's been reported our country's pledge will be to reduce emissions by 81%. He said a key part of the process will be Labour's promise to shift away from fossil fuels for electricity generation by 2030.
It will be ambitious, and that's measured not by telling people what to do. It's measured by making sure that we get to clean power by 2030. That's the single most important target on the way to the emissions, and that will bring with it lower bills for people for their energy. It'll give them independence so that tyrants like Putin can't put his boot on our throat, causing all sorts of difficulties for our energy bills, and it comes with the next generation of jobs.
Some critics have argued that lifestyle changes will be required to meet strict emissions reduction targets. Now, the NHS are rolling out a game-changer pill to help people stop smoking. The once-a-day pill could help tens of thousands of people give up cigarettes and prevent thousands of smoking-related deaths each year.
So this pill was previously called Champic, but it was taken off the shelves in 2021 after an impurity was discovered. However, the regulator, the Medicines Health and Regulatory Authority, has said that this new relaunch product is perfectly safe.
That's Dan Keane, the London Standard's health reporter.
So what varenicline does is it gets in the way of nicotine in the brain, so you don't actually enjoy it as much when you use a cigarette. And it does this by attaching to the same parts of your brain that nicotine attaches to, but it doesn't stimulate them as strongly as nicotine does.
According to NHS England, when the pill is used alongside behavioural support, it can help about 1 in 4 people stop smoking for at least 6 months.
This is available immediately. It certainly seems that way from the NHS press release. And what you need to do to get it is go through Pharmacy Council-led stop smoking services. So you'll be able to self-refer to these services by visiting the NHS Better Health website.
Let's go to a break. Coming up in part 2, Web Summit 2024 has arrived and we'll be speaking to Adobe about AI. See you back here in just a minute. Welcome back. Web Summit 2024 has officially kicked off in Lisbon and will have a number of hot topics on its agenda across the week, such as AI and Trump's presidency, to name a couple. Joining us down the line from the summit is Claire Darley, who's Senior Vice President of Strategic Initiatives at software giant Adobe. Claire, what's the mood like?
Oh, I was at the opening ceremony last night and it was electric. Absolutely electric. 70,000 people going crazy for innovation and AI.
How are Adobe keeping up with the growing demand for AI against other tools?
We've been in the AI business for the last 10 years. We used to call it things like Photoshop magic. That was all artificial intelligence. And in the last 2 years, we launched Firefly, which is our series of generative AI models. We've shown the world that it is entirely possible to build something beautiful. You can create amazing content, but also do it in a responsible, accountable and transparent way. And I think that's really important when anybody is thinking about a tool to use, is making sure that it's commercially safe.
Any concerns with AI?
I think for me, AI should be a tool for and not a replacement of things like creativity. And I think that that's really why we've kind of building stuff on a foundation of this transparency and responsibility. We take it really seriously. The creative community is our family. It's absolutely the heart of everything we do. And so we've set out really clear guidelines that say we only train our model on licensed content. We never use our customers' data to train our model. We pay our stock contributors fairly, and we never scrape the internet. And I think those foundations help enterprises get the surety that they're going to have commercially safe content, and artists feel reassured that we're protecting their interests.
And how are Adobe making products more accessible for those who have less money?
Well, I think you've nailed it. We've been a company that has, innovated for the creative professional, but actually content now is something that everybody has a need to create and to be able to communicate in different ways to have their message stand out. And yeah, we are working really hard. That's actually what my job is now. So I'm leading Adobe Express, which is the quick and easy create anything app. It starts with a free model, and we put an awful lot of our premium features actually into the free model, and that really makes it easy for especially solopreneurs or small businesses to really get started.
Next, the actor Stephen Fry has signed an open letter protesting TfL signage that promotes 5G on the London Underground, which they claim could be dangerous for children. The letter, also signed by other celebrities and London residents, calls for removal of a poster that shows a young woman looking at her phone with the caption, "5G is coming to the tube." There is concern of the potential dangers of the ad, and they reference an element of the UK Code of Broadcast Advertising, which the letter implies it breaches. They are asking for the poster to be swapped with an alternative in order to acknowledge the growing evidence of the adverse effects of excessive device use on children's attention and neurodevelopment, as highlighted by NHS professionals. And finally, Birdwatchers assemble. And if you're in West Yorkshire right now, you may have already done so. Many birdwatchers set up spots in a quiet cul-de-sac in Shelf near Halifax to try and catch a glimpse of a very rare bird to the UK, a scarlet tanager, the American songbird, which according to the American Bird Conservancy has a song that sounds like a robin with a cold, and is believed to have arrived here after North American hurricane winds blew it off course. Reports suggest that this stocky bird was first sighted on a washing line. You're up to date. Come back at 4 p.m. for the Standard Podcast with Mark London. Tech and Science Daily returns tomorrow at 1 p.m. For all the latest news, head to standard.co.uk.